Welcome along in, everybody, to the Red Card Radio news episode. We hope this is your one-stop shop for news related to the English Premier League. And this is a big one because this is the transfer market closed, transfer deadline day, whatever you want to call it. The close of the winter transfer market is upon us, and we're going to talk about some stuff. There's some normal news, and then there's one elephant in the room that we have to deal with. It's a very big, heavy-set blue elephant that we will deal with. But
James, this is just a Tuesday
yeah. So we're a little bit,
or Wednesday. Sorry, this is just a Wednesday.
we're a little bit out of order this week because with the transfer market closing, we wanted to do this to capitalize on the craziness of the transfer market. So we're bringing you the news on Wednesday. Check back tomorrow because we'll have our review of the FA Cup fourth round. We'll tie that with a bow tomorrow for you before we look forward on Friday for the Premier League returning this weekend. And definitely, if you're new here, hit that subscribe button, ring the sub notification bell. If you're on one of the podcast site, give it a 5-star review, hit us with a follow, share it with a friend, tweet it, do all those things, social media it, make a TikTok about it.
Instagram it, Reels it, not TikTok. We're not for the TikToks.
Oh,
Instagram us.
We don't vibe with TikTok.
TikTok is China. No, TikTok is China. We don't vibe there. No vibes in China.
Anyways, what I meant to say, James, is that it's just a Wednesday, man. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know what you mean.
Yeah.
Like, this is such an important day or something.
Well,
yeah.
I think
sorry you guys aren't all Chelsea fans.
I don't.
Well, yeah.
I'm actually very happy I'm not a Chelsea fan. But I don't even know what to do with you, Brad. All right. So transfer market's closed. So holistically, the Premier League spent an astronomical amount of money in this transfer market comparatively to the European teams. Orders of magnitude more that the Premier League spent. And it just seems like it's never going to stop. So I don't know. I know, Jimmy, you watch a lot of Bundesliga. Will, you obviously watch the Serie A. Do we just kind of like a high level? Do we ever see a world where the European leagues are ever competing with the English league in terms of transfers again?
I don't.
Go ahead.
I don't. Sure. But I could tie a quick bow on it. The surprising omissions from the spending, when you scroll down the spending by team, the surprising omissions are clearly Liverpool and City. They were relatively inactive compared to their normal activity. So the surprising omissions are there. The surprising admissions that are there are abundant. With Southampton spending 60, and would you
like
57 for
Bournemouth.
Spent,
yeah.
And Brad jokingly made the comment because Chelsea are the elephant in the room, and their net spend was astronomical. And he jokingly said, "I bet you could add up the entire Premier League, and it wouldn't equal what we spent." I did quick math. It didn't take very long until I added up to higher than that, and it was mid-table to bottom-level teams that I was adding up.
That's the point. Like, you're always going to have the albatrosses in England. You're going to have the City. You're going to have the United. You're going to have the Chelsea when they decide to spend big. But the shocking thing is you got like Leeds United spending 40 million, Bournemouth spending 60 million. Like the mid-tier clubs in England are going, like, you could never see Salernitana or Torino in Italy spending 60 million euros in a January transfer window. You know what I mean? Like
just to try to stay up.
Yeah.
Not even to go for it.
Yeah. I think last January, like, Juventus spent like maybe 80 million or something like that. And that was an astronomical amount of money for them in January. And like, they're one of the biggest clubs in Italy. So like, it's not, yes, England is always top heavy and always will be top heavy, but I think it's more interesting, to your point, Sean, exactly what you were saying, is that it's the mid-level teams that really boost up the transfer spend, like the net transfer spend of the league.
Brad's
and the bottom teams.
Yeah.
Brad's going to get plenty of his own shine here because we're going to cover that exclusively. But would you say if I can take a macro into a micro and take a bite size of that macro, does it have to do with the success of Newcastle buying big but buying smart last January that absolutely like a phoenix rose them out of relegation, where it gives all of these mid to back half, mid table to back half teams hope that if we spend smartly and we spend 40 to I don't know how much they spent last January. It was not that much.
Yeah.
They got Trippier, they got Grimerish, and those are probably their two most expensive. But I believe it was 3 or 4 players that they spent less than 100 million on that completely changed the complexion of their team and their season, and then off they went into
Let's
the top 10 or
let's
darn near close.
let's look at Newcastle last year. Newcastle's net spend in the transfer window last winter was 101 million euros.
Okay,
So like
so it's right around.
95 million pounds, around 100 million euros. Like so that's actually a really interesting point. Is that like, or like an interesting conversation, is that like, are these teams looking at Newcastle as a model for they were dead to rights last winter and they
And that
spent
was
money
four to
and they
five
saved
players,
up. Yeah.
four to five players that changed it. And so maybe some of these clubs are thinking, maybe I don't get 4 to 5. Maybe don't go get Trippier for the 40 or the Grimerish for the 40. Maybe I just get 2 to 3 players and it changes it just enough that we can finish 15th. We don't got to finish 10th.
Yeah, I mean, and like that's what Nottingham Forest has been doing. They did it all summer. They spent a
Yeah.
lot in this transfer market as well.
And
So
smart money. They're
yeah,
not spending big on any of these players.
no,
Nottingham.
they're buying a boatload of players for relatively small amounts. Um,
Insane.
so that that's an interesting conversation about like whether or not Newcastle set a precedent last year. Now the problem with that is that Newcastle could afford to go down last year, like monetarily, financially. They could have afforded to have been relegated last year. If their transfer market failed last winter and they spent 100 million euros and they get relegated, they would have been fine. I'm not so sure the same can be said about Everton at this moment. I'm not sure the same can be said about Nottingham Forest at this moment. Like, if these clubs get it wrong, they could pull a Leeds and be down in the second division for 3 or 4 years. You know what I mean?
That's where I was heading with that is this heading towards these bottom half teams. Somebody's got to get relegated. There's 3 teams getting relegated no matter what.
Yep.
3 teams are getting out of here.
Yep.
So, like are we heading towards Newcastle setting that precedent that are setting 3 teams up for really bad failure?
I that's a good question, and I think we'll have to wait and see who finally get relegated. If it's one of the more stable clubs, like I don't want to say stable because like I don't necessarily know about like the financial stability of Nottingham Forest, but they haven't been up in the Premier League for like 20 years or whatever it was before, 30 years or whatever it was. So obviously they don't have as much financial clout, let's say, as an Everton. But I mean, maybe Nottingham Forest has ran better. I don't know that specifically or not, but you got to believe that Everton is probably better situated to survive a season of the Championship after spending a lot of money, even though they
Quick
didn't
point
spend any money.
to Brad's point. What would you in the pre-production? Would you just say about Everton selling Anthony Gordon?
And it was like, how do you let? Oh, so I first said, how do you let somebody like Anthony Gordon go without having a replacement ready, in the marketplace? But B, like this, if Everton is going down, and if like Everton's like, hey, there's a very good chance that we still end up going down, will I be able to sell Anthony Gordon for more money or less money at the end of this? And the answer is less money because you're going to be forced to be selling him, keep yourself solvable and get wages off the books and all of that stuff. So this is probably the place where they can get the most out of an Anthony Gordon deal.
And I thought about that a little bit longer right before the pod, and I thought that's Everton reading the room, thinking there's no way we can spend the people around them. Bournemouth 57, Southampton 40, Wolves 40, West Ham 40, Leeds 40 something. There's no way we can spend that and afford to go down. let's just take our net 40 positive, sign a relegation manager, and hope for the best.
But they didn't even sign necessarily a relegation manager. They signed a manager who, I
Big
guess
Sam?
no, they signed
Come on,
Sean Dyche, who is
Sean Dyche.
who spent many years in the Premier League with Burnley. They did go down, they did get relegated, but then he stayed with the club and they brought him back up. To me, Sean Dyche is a long-term manager for Everton. He's not an 18-month manager. He's not a like save us from relegation and we'll sign somebody else new. This is a we signed we got a manager who knows the Premier League but also knows the Championship and can navigate both, but that has a pedigree to keep them up. It will be interesting to see how. I think Everton's first two matches back are Arsenal and Liverpool. So like they're those are not
Yeah,
fun. Yeah, welcome back to the Premier League, Sean Dyche.
welcome, club, welcome
Yeah.
back.
So
Yeah. And Everton also don't have money to spend because A, they're building a new stadium. B, for Everton, they've spent a lot of money the past few years before this year.
on
Like
flops.
when Frank took the job in January, it was, hey, you don't have money, but you gotta make this work. And he did. He
Yeah.
kept them up. This year, like they said the same thing. Hey, we ain't got no money. So like what you gonna do?
Figure it out.
Yeah, and like just is like it's not pretty. So like it is what it is. And that's why Everton is in the position they're in. Now you can argue that like we'll get to it. Is Chelsea setting themselves up to be in a position like this in a couple of years?
So
But
I think
like
let's kind of dig in a little bit. We're gonna save Chelsea for last because I think it's gonna take a while. Sean, as a Spurs supporter, what do you think about the transfer dealings of Tottenham Hotspurs?
What I said, I believe it was yesterday morning. Brad or Monday morning. Sorry, uh, Brad was chirping about the Poro deal going through, and I was like, yeah, the Poro deal can go through, but if they don't have a backup and we don't address a single need in this transfer window, fans are going to riot because that's not Conte. That's not Conte doing that. It's the owners
Yeah.
pulling something. Uh, it's not Conte saying, I don't see a player that I like.
Yeah, certainly not.
Certainly not.
So I guess the next question is
Or
did
address
you
our
address
need.
the needs that are required for there not to be a riot?
I am a most of the time centered enough fan to realize that I think in Poro's instance, the Conte need and the club need for balancing or whatever they want to do with the money met. I don't think they met on center back. I think he wanted this and they wanted this. And for those on YouTube, those lines are not intersecting.
No.
They are parallel. They are parallel on two different planes of thought.
Yeah. Conte wants here. They want to pay this.
Yeah, I
That
think
did not intersect.
it seemed like Spurs like their big needs were right back, or right
Right
wing
back.
back, right
We addressed
right
that.
wing. They addressed that. Center back did not address that. So
because it's not just center back. In a perfect world, Davies Dyer and as much as I complain about Dyer, Davies Dyer or Sanchez and Romero are an okay back three. It's okay. If you've got a right back and a left back that aren't being morons and a non-geriatric goalkeeper, like it's not the worst back three you could put together. It's not awful.
no, but I think a lot of it's covered up by Romero being above
It is.
average. Romero
But
is
the problem
dragging them up.
When Romero goes down, we are effed.
Yes.
That's the problem.
And we saw that.
Yes. So I feel like that should have been a bigger red flag right before the World Cup was when Romero goes down, we're screwed.
Yeah.
We need to get another good center back in here so that somebody can bark orders and be the lead in that back three, because Dyer just needs a leash. is all he needs. He needs somebody to drag him around in the line.
Yep.
Davies is competent. He's just small and getting older.
Yeah.
Which is funny because Dyer's playing the middle. Like that role is supposed to be one that drags
He's supposed
everybody
to be the
around.
marker,
Yeah.
but he must be. I don't know what makes you the center back out of that. Maybe you're just slow. Maybe
It's
that's just the slowest plays the middle. But like normally you put your right footed guy on the right and your left footed guy on the left.
yeah.
And
And
then
then
you
some
put
height.
tall, slow in the middle.
I
But
don't.
normally that's the captain. That's your Rio. That's your John Terry. That
Is your
whoever
Tiago?
Tiago. That's who you put in the middle. Your defensive captain goes right there. That should be Romero, but maybe Dyer's just not really great at getting the ball out of the back with his right foot.
Well, I think you generally want a good passer in the middle, and especially in
So
Conte
that's probably him
Conte's
coming from
system.
him.
It definitely is him.
In Conte's system, you want your central center back to be a very good passer. And Dyer can get the ball, he can carry it forward because he's
Probably with both.
he's a midfielder by trade. If we're being completely honest,
Yeah.
he's a six.
That's where he came
CDM.
from.
Yeah, that's his trade. He's been molded into a center back because of his speed deficiencies.
Athletic.
Let's say his athletic deficiencies. Let's go with, but like so he is generally a decent passer of the ball, I guess, and so that's generally like who you want on the ball a lot because then they're dictating. They're able to dictate. Are we going up the right this time? Are we going through the center? Are we going left? Like, do I need to carry it a little bit? Like, they need to work it around a little bit. So. Are you happy? So I guess the overall question is: are you happy?
No,
Okay.
no, we need a center back. We weren't even linked to Barbadal.
Yeah, it's weird. Like there was no talk of a center back really for Spurs at all.
I didn't even hear any other team in for Barbadal. Maybe entered. It's Inter, right? Yeah.
No, it's Leipzig.
Barbadal?
Varvel is Leipzig.
Okay. Maybe they just shut everybody down. It was like he's not leaving mid-year. You want to check back in? Check back in August.
It's kind of like what Brighton did with Casado. Is that like, hey, we're not selling, and you can throw as many bids at us as you want, but we're not selling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
but
okay.
we were linked at some point with Tielemans, which I don't know where that came from. But a lot of fans were thinking, what the hell do we need with Tielemans? And my first thought was center back.
No, like, he's too small.
He could play.
He's too little.
He could do it.
He's done it, but no.
That was my first thought. I was like, is Conte playing 3D chess right now? Like,
no.
I mean, it also depends too, right? Like, if you could get him on like a Jorginho deal, then why not? Because isn't he out of contract?
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Like, if we can get him on the cheap.
Well, I think that's the thing with Tielemans, and I think Tielemans was being. I would imagine his agent was offering him around, like, hey, get me out of Leicester. This is a good player, full international, all these things he can do. But it's kind of like Arsenal have been linked to Tielemans for like 18 months now, and he's been available for relatively cheap. We probably could have gotten him for maybe a little bit more than what we ultimately got Jorginho for. But there's a reason why Arsenal didn't sign Tielemans and we signed Jorginho instead. I guess is a good point to pivot to Arsenal. I think ultimately Arsenal's transfer window is a story of almost a couple like a couple.
Just Trossard, right?
Well, no, it's Trossard, it's Jorginho, and then it's I'm gonna butcher this because it's Polish. What? Sure. QR. Yeah, I think it's QR. I think it's QR.
I was closest. Let's go.
I think. Don't quote me on that because I don't. but like so, QR is a left-sided center back. He is obviously center back for the future. Backup for Gabriel this year. So backup at center back. We got depth at center back. We got depth in the midfield, and we got depth on the wings. I can't complain about that. Like, sure, were we linked to Mudryk, who would have been electrifying? Absolutely. Did we miss out on Mudryk? Yes, we did. Did we miss out on Casado? Because everyone missed out on Casado? Absolutely. But I guess the good thing about all of these deals is that none of them are super expensive. Like that it makes it so if we wanted to target big names in the summer, if we wanted to go back in for a Casado in the summer, if we wanted to go at Declan Rice in the summer, which is the rumor, surrounding Arsenal. Like signing Jorginho doesn't prevent Arsenal from making a bid for Declan Rice in the summer. So, you know, I read this on Twitter today. It's if Arteta trusts him, if Arteta wants it, then I trust Arteta, so then I want it, or kind of the deal. Is it like, who am I to know what's going to fit? Like, apparently the rumors were that like when the Arsenal players heard about Jorginho coming in, they were all really excited. So I'm sure he fits in well. I'm sure he will play decently. 12 million pounds to Chelsea is annoying. It's annoying, but it is what it is.
Speaking of that it's too relevant not to mention, but I saw a video on Twitter of the interview with Cucurella,
Yes.
where
Yes.
they ask him who's the smartest player on Chelsea, and he says, "Oh, without a doubt, it's Jorginho." And then the cameraman says, "Well, he's on Arsenal, no?" And then Cucurella's like, "No," like you could see him. He's like, "Oh no,
Yeah.
he got no. He's on the thing." And they pull it up, and like him being introduced as an Arsenal player, he's like, "Oh no, do I have to pick another player?" Like you could see, he's like immediately it's Jorginho, and then he's like, "Oh no, I don't know if I can pick another smart player on Chelsea because he's the only smart one around here."
I saw that and I thought it was hilarious. I definitely retweeted it because
Yeah,
it was
maybe that's
hilarious.
how I saw
It
it.
was a real. I think I sent
Maybe
it to you
that's how
guys
I
because I
saw
thought
it,
it
but
was funny.
it
Um,
is funny because he's like,
Like,
"Oh, definitely Jorginho."
yeah.
Oh no, he's not here.
So for context for everybody of why that probably happened is because all of the Chelsea first team had the day off today. So they probably were nowhere near. A couple more if they were, like not everybody was.
So
And so
Cucurella probably had just a
had no
spot
and it
somewhere.
probably
Yeah,
just happened while they were recording and like so he had no
yeah.
idea. So like yeah.
why did they have today off?
Because who knew what chaos was going to be happening?
Yo, you got to train, man. You guys are in 10th. Like, it seems like you guys should be training.
We've been
Hey,
training
whoa,
for 2 weeks
whoa.
straight. We've been
Every,
training for a
yeah,
week straight. We haven't had any
everybody,
games.
everybody needs a day off here, James.
And
Like,
this
like
is
who are
probably a scheduled day off in whatever their like 2 weeks long training plan is. And it just so happened to be on deadline day.
Just so
Oh,
happened.
I'm not hating on a team for giving a team the day off. Come on.
What is this? The anti-work subreddit? Get out of here. No time off. Get back to work. Um,
So I have a question. So are you happy with the Arsenal transfer window?
I think I am.
I don't see how you couldn't.
Arsenal's starting 11 is arguably one of the best in the league. You could make an argument that Arsenal have one of the best starting 11 in the league, and that our deficiencies come when we have to make substitutions. Jorginho for Lakanga as a backup to either Xhaka or Partey is an upgrade.
It's a huge upgrade.
It's
I
an
think that
upgrade.
was probably your best business.
Trossard is an upgrade over Reece Nelson. I love Reece Nelson, and I think Reece Nelson has a part to play at Arsenal still. But Trossard is an upgrade over Reece Nelson as a backup. I don't know if he's an upgrade over Emile Smith-Rowe. I don't know. I'm not willing to say that. But Emile Smith-Rowe is injured right now. He's been injured. He can't really get healthy right now. So, like, we needed backup. We needed depth.
I think your big omissions are not the additions. You're missing that Marquinhos goes out to Norwich on loan,
That's fine.
and that Lokanga goes out to Palace on loan. You're getting your younger players who aren't going to get playing time in this run.
Yeah.
You're getting them playing time.
I think
and
it's
that's really good for you.
yeah. I
And you
think
got Cedric's stuff off the books because Cedric is by no means playing. If Cedric is playing, you guys have issues.
yeah. So I think the good thing about the Lakanga one is that if he plays well for Palace, that could materialize into a sale in the summer, because I think we only purchased him for like £8 million 2 summers ago or something like that. It was really cheap because he's a young player.
Yeah.
And so if he plays well at Palace for 6 months, there might be English teams that are willing to pay £20 million for a central midfielder. It's like then that represents good business. Marquinhos is obviously not up for sale. He is just going to get playing time.
19.
Yeah.
19.
He's obviously going to get playing time, which is, if you remember back, and I know you guys don't remember this, but as Arsenal fans, we'll remember back in August when the talk about Marquinhos was, we thought that the playing time for Marquinhos would be limited in the first half of the year, and that Arsenal would look for a winter loan for him for the last half of the season. And that's exactly what happened. He played a little bit in the Europa League. He played in the Carabao Cup, and may have come on as subs in the FA Cup, and then he got a loan for the second half of the season. Hopefully he'll play a lot for Norwich. I don't know if he will, but hopefully he will. And so yeah, I agree with you, Sean. Yes. Am I happy about Arsenal's transfer window? Yes, I think I am. Am I a little disappointed to miss out on Mudryk? I think so. I'm not as disappointed to miss out on Casado, because I think our midfield is really solid, and spending 70 million on backup to me seems weird.
See, I don't know if Casado. I think there might have been an argument that Casado might not come in for Partey, but comes in for Xhaka.
There's no argument that I will hear. Xhaka is a field general. His presence in the Arsenal midfield is immense. He is one of our most important players. Like, him and Zinchenko are two of the biggest personalities on the pitch, and having them on the pitch at the same time represents a substantial leadership group. And honestly, the Xhaka Partey pairing has an absurdly high win percentage, like in the greater than 80%, getting close to 90% win range.
Right, as a group, I do not disagree with you, but as an individual player, comparing Casado to Xhaka, I think Casado is the better player.
I might have agreed with you 6 months ago. I disagree with you now.
Okay. So on current form, you disagree.
Xhaka is one of the best midfielders in the league right now. In the moment, now, he's one of the best midfielders in the league.
And you watch more Arsenal than I do, so I will agree with you. But I think that was the idea, is that Casado is going to play significant minutes, whether it's for Partey or Xhaka.
Probably both.
If you were bringing him in, he was going to play significant minutes.
Yeah.
So on a scale of 1 to 10, and we should have asked this of you, Sean, I will in a second. On a scale of 1 to 10, where are you with Arsenal's winter business?
I think it's got to be 8.5, 9. Honestly, I think it's good business. It's cheap. It's loan deals for young players. It's depth. It's good depth. It's reliable depth. So I can't be mad about it. I meme on Jorginho. I've been memeing on Jorginho for 3 years. So that's strange for me. That's strange for me.
Yeah, it felt weird seeing him in red. I'm sorry.
I'll get over it. I'll get over it. In the same way that I'll get over the fact that David Luiz played for Arsenal. When they're in the kit, I'm going to obviously support them. It feels weird. Well, Peter Cech's a goalkeeper, so they barely count. And Willian never played, so I don't know. I'm pretty happy. Sean, what would you rate Tottenham's before we get into this albatross that is Chelsea?
It's 6.
That's kind of what I was thinking too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you met either the biggest or second biggest need that you had out there.
It was the biggest need.
Unfortunately, it was kept Spence, which I think is the right back of the future. Whether we're in a 4 or a 3-man back, whether we're in a 4 or 5, it doesn't matter. I think Spence is the right back of the future, whether he's a wing back or he's a right back.
Paul's only 1 year older, but yes, I'm with you.
Yeah, but I think Spence, from what the short time I've seen of him, maybe Spence could probably even be made into a right mid. Yeah, and maybe Porro could too. I don't watch Portuguese football, so I don't know. Yeah. I need to watch him play, but from what I've seen of Spence, he could be made into a right mid. He's young enough, he's quick enough, he's got the instincts. He just needs experience. So 6 is where I'm at.
Cool. Hey, I have one follow-up question for you. I think I agree, Sean. Looking from the outside in, I think a 6 is because of all the business finished. The chaos that happened was fun. With Sporting pulling a levy or backing out for a while until whatever happened for them to figure it out and they got through. Now, James, if Casado comes, does your grade change?
In the summer?
No, if he came in this window and you put the 70-80 mil on him.
I don't know.
Instead of Jorginho.
That's obviously a flashy signing. It's it's a big splash. It's like it's big intentions. It's like, but like I don't I don't know. Like I might have
Do
a
you need him?
I might have a lower opinion of the transfer window if we had spent 70 million on Casado. Now
Okay.
if we spent
He's
That the next one was if you spent
he's
70 mil on
he's
Mudryk,
like
does
a
that change your
he's
grade?
he's like a 6 or an 8, right?
yeah,
Casado,
He's
yeah,
yeah,
he's
he's
both.
like a yeah, could play a 6 or an 8. You don't need him. Like what? It's spending $80 million on a player you don't absolutely have to have seems
well, the
ridiculous.
problem is that Arsenal falls apart if Partey's not playing. That's the issue. And
Or
that's
Xhaka. Like that's what we just said. Both of if either one of them are out.
less so Xhaka, more so
Spending 80 on a backup is even worse.
exactly. So like spending 70 million on the,
Well,
I think ultimately, like in hindsight, I feel better about 12 million for Jorginho than uh than 70 million for Casado in this moment.
Okay.
I'd much rather a big deal like that be done in the summer.
I just
Okay.
I,
And if
I'm
it was
just gonna
Mudryk,
be I'm gonna be controversial real quick. I don't think Casado's that good. He
He's
played great against Qatar. Like, and
it's the
he's okay. Like, I'm not saying he's bad. I don't want to come across. He's not $80 million good. I have
agreed.
not seen that.
Agreed.
I have
welcome
not
to
seen that good.
it's the Brighton tax.
Okay, well they can take that Brighton tax somewhere else.
Oh, they'll
Because
get the money.
because what Arsenal are probably going to do, and this is what Tottenham should do, is sign Lavia from Southampton because he's like a 19-year-old superstar from Belgium that's in the making. And every time that dude touches the ball, he's electric and he's got a great instincts. And if you're going to sign a 6 or an 8, it should be him.
I think Casado has a huge potential. And apparently Arsenal were interested in him last summer before he signed for Brighton as well. So like Casado's been on Arsenal's radar for a while. And Casado certainly has huge potential. But I agree with you. He's not a 70 million pound player in this moment. I think his better valuation is 45-50. But even that still seems like an astronomical amount of money for a player who doesn't have that much experience in the league. So your question, what about Mudryk?
Yep. Does it become a 10?
Mudryk over Trossard, I think if I swap Mudryk for Trossard and keep everything else the same, I think I'm probably a 10. Probably.
I mean, like I think you guys did really good business this transfer window. So again, I don't think you're wrong in your ratings as a fan of this.
All right. But
So speaking of good business, let's talk about bad business.
What do you mean bad business?
Chelsea Football Club, Todd
Let's do
Bowley,
it.
the owner and chief check writer at Chelsea Football Club, has decided that I needed to spend. How much did he spend in the summer? Like 250 million euros, 300 million pounds, whatever. How much he spent in the summer? A lot of money. Spent a lot of money, and then he decided he decided to
500 and we spent 611 million euros so far
since the summer and the winter combined. So okay,
combined.
so he spent slightly more. He spent like 280 in the summer and spent 320 in
329.50 is what I got.
Yeah, but net spend because of Jorginho, because of the 12, the 12 for Jorginho. So okay, yeah. Chelsea obviously. So the big news is that Chelsea gets Enzo Fernandez over the line today. 120 million euros, like 105, 106 million pounds. Obviously signed Mudryk a couple weeks ago for 70, Badiashile for around 40. So like just all these players, they signed all these players. João Felix, 11 million. So like spent a lot of money.
Yes.
And also signed some players to some astronomically long contracts.
Yes.
Like all of these dudes are on 7 or 8 year contracts. Enzo Fernandez is on like an 8.5 year contract or something like that, isn't he?
2031. Yes.
I don't want to do the math. I'm not good at math, but that's
2023.
That's a long time.
That's 8 years.
That's a long time. So
yes,
Chelsea obviously have done this to structure their deals so that they can be more compliant with financial fair play. Due to player amortization, they can defray these huge fees over the course of 7 or 8 years, which is why UEFA is trying to impose a 5-year limit on how long you can
amortize these things.
amortize player sales, which I still think is stupid. I think it should just be like cash flow. It should be how much did I spend on this player this year? How much did I spend this year? How much money? Because like if you're going to do installments, and it sounds like Chelsea have got Benfica to agree to a installment deal for Enzo Fernandez, where they're going to pay like
40 mil now.
40
Yep,
million
and then
euros now, and then
we have 5 other payments of whatever the rest is.
so that's obviously favorable from a cash flow perspective from Chelsea, but it also like that's just how it should be reconciled when we're looking at profits and losses. Like in 2023, they spent 35 or 40 million euros on Enzo Fernandez and however much on Mudryk and however much on all these other players. And that's how we should look at it. We shouldn't look at the 121 divided by 8. That's stupid.
I
I'm
guess
with you, but hey, look, if that loophole exists and we use it, like
The problem is not a loophole. It's the culture. It's the culture around football finances. And I just think it's stupid. I don't like to call it a loophole because it's not a loophole. It's just the way it's done.
It's been the thing that it's
It's just the way it's done.
It's just go for farther.
No, you didn't even realize it. Everybody knew it existed. It wasn't something that
right. It's been something that's happened. We just did it to like the extreme.
Exactly. Yes. That, I will agree to that. Sean, what were you going to say, Sean?
I was just going to say that the reason I don't think they make it straight up to this year versus this year is it hurts the other teams that aren't English, that don't make the most money. It hurts, well, and before all of the NBC money and all the other revenue money, before it was just English, it hurts all the smaller teams.
But they're all already hurt anyway.
They can't. Yeah, but the ones they can make, the ones they can make, they can make that $40 million splash. Now they can't make it 8 over 5.
But the thing
that would have helped them, you know what I mean?
But the thing is, it's not like saying they can stomach the 8 over 5. That's just saying that they can stomach it from a financial fair play perspective. They're still paying the money out, like physically writing the check, wiring the money from their account to the other account. So like the money is leaving their accounts.
But the money's different from. I'm even going to pick some big. The money's different from Marseille to PSG.
Certainly.
Like and it's different from. I'll even say it's different from PSG to City.
Yeah.
Year over year.
I mean, like you can look at it in England. Like the money is different at Manchester City, Manchester United, Chelsea than it is to Liverpool, Arsenal, Tottenham, and like there's huge discrepancy in terms of like what the top 3 clubs in England can do and the next 3 can do. It's huge.
That was a huge issue for Liverpool, where they came in with the revenue numbers higher than City last year.
Yeah.
Well,
City,
and I'm wondering, where's that money at?
It's in Fenway Park.
No, it's not. That's what they always say, and then Boston Red Sox fans always say it's over there in Anfield. That's
it's in that owner's pocket. That's where it's at.
They're the same. They've somehow pit Anfield versus Fenway, and they just argue about each other. And the Red Sox fans say it's Liverpool taking their money, and the Liverpool fans saying it's the Red Sox taking their money. And neither one's taking their money. It's John Henry.
Yes.
John Henry.
I don't disagree. I agree that accounting is a weird and like freaky science that I have no understanding of. All I know is that apparently our club and our club's accountants felt like we could spend this money and still be good with financial fair play.
I'm sure
how or why, I don't know. I have no idea, but we did, and I'm excited and I'm happy.
I'm sure that Chelsea Football Club make a dickload of money. And that's a technical term. They make buckets of money.
Yes.
And so they can afford to, like, they can't afford to go spend 330. They can't go afford to write a check for 330 million euros right now and be good. Like they couldn't do that. Like now they can spread that money out across the course of 5 years or something like that, which is what they've done when they've structured these deals. I guess my biggest gripe with, and I've been complaining about the football finances for years, maybe not in this setting, and maybe it only gets exacerbated at certain times. But I've been thinking that the way that football finances work is dumb for years. And I will appeal to Will to back me up on this, that I've been telling people that it's stupid for years.
Well, yes, but let's be real. This is unsustainable. And I don't think that it's something that is going to continue at Chelsea.
I mean, you can't go spend another 300 million
I
pounds in the
I
summer.
I 100% agree with you, and I don't think it'd be smart to. B, I don't think we will. I think a
Uh,
lot of our spending got done now.
uh, oh, a quick point and a longer point on that. We did say we've talked about a couple of times, Brad, you and I on this podcast about the reset. Just flip the roster, get your
Yep.
guys in, and it's a lot of money right up front, but then you just add from there. You don't need to
Yep.
spend a lot of money after you just flip it. So we've talked about that before on this podcast.
Yep. And
But
well,
second point, are you guys aware of my favorite day of the year? It's July 1st,
Okay.
if you don't know. But do you know why that's relevant?
Is that
why?
the Bellina Day or whatever it is?
That is Bobby Bonilla Day.
Benia.
That
Oh
is the
yeah.
day. That is the day that a baseball owner decided that he was going to spread Bobby Bonilla's contract over a bajillion years so
It's
that he didn't have to actually pay it. The Mets, the New York Mets, will be paying for Bobby Bonilla for the next 11 years still, and he hasn't played a baseball game since 2003.
yeah.
On every day on July 1st, he will get $1 million because they're idiots.
It's a smart
And
move.
that
Yeah.
and
I'm with you.
you aren't aware that you just did that to 7 players.
I am aware. I understand that and I
Like
get that.
they were hamstrung for the Mets were for years dealing with that contract.
Yeah, I
So
get that. But
we
also like there will be player departures in the summer. There
okay.
weren't as many that I was hoping for in the
Time out.
winter.
But time out. Why is anyone going to pay a lot for Christian Pulisic? They know Chelsea have to sign him. Why are Leeds United, when Leeds United stay up and Leeds United States of
Dumb.
America come for Christian Pulisic and they say, we got to add you to the group. We got Tim Ream from Fulham in the summer. We're amassing our Americans. Christian, you need to come over here.
Yes.
Why are they going to pay more than 15 million for Christian Pulisic? Christian Pulisic hasn't played for Chelsea in 2 years. Realistic minutes.
Play him.
They won't play
Every time he
him.
does, he gets hurt.
Sure.
Every
You
time he does, he gets hurt.
you can say that.
Let's be real
Then
about
play
No.
him more.
That's not true. Like he fell out of favor with Tuchel. And then yes, he's been injured, but he fell out of favor with Tuchel and he hasn't played since you guys won the Champions League. Realistic minutes. And so like why is anyone going to pay a lot for Physique? Why is anyone going to pay a lot for I don't know, Mason Mount? Why is anyone going to pay a lot for Conte? Why is anyone going to pay a lot for Ben Chilwell? Like you guys, the problem is here is you guys have or Kepa or Mendy. Like you guys have some still glaring potential. You guys have some time bombs. I'll say in your squad that
I don't disagree with you.
if Reece James and Ben and Chilwell don't stay fit, you're going to have to address wing back. You're going to have to address left back and right back.
We did. Do I think Cucurella is the same level as Chilwell? No. We did. And we signed
I don't
the
think
19-year-old Gusto.
I'm not entirely sure that Cucurella is going to work out long term. Just throwing that out there.
I
Hair-
don't
he needs to
I'm
cut
with
his
you. I
hair.
don't understand.
Disgusting.
Shut up, Sean.
How is Christian Romero gonna win a point at Stamford Bridge if
Yeah.
he cuts his hair? But I don't know. Like
No, it was at White Hart.
no, it was at Stamford Bridge.
Was that a bridge?
It was at the bridge.
What? Oh yeah, you're right. My bad.
It
My
does-
bad. You're right.
I don't know.
His hair is the same way. It doesn't
Like,
matter.
Either
where
way.
it was.
But
What happens when Enzo Fernandez gets to London and he's playing for 2 years and then his wife is just like, I hate England. Cue Angel Di Maria in Manchester United, like playing really well for United, and his partner is just like, get me the hell out of England. It rains too much. It's cold. I want to go back where it's nice. And you guys have signed a player and he is unhappy. Like, and I'm not saying this is definitely going to happen, but like, there are just some
We're dealing with
pitfalls.
people.
Yes.
We're dealing with people.
yeah, I'm with you. There is more person to person risk in those types of scenarios.
Yeah.
I'm not disagreeing with you. Like they did take a financial risk, but at the same time, they mitigated the problems now it may have pushed them forward a bit.
Certainly,
Um,
you guys are improved.
but and I mean, we'll have to see how it plays out, right? Like, first impressions on this transfer window, it
Yeah.
is a 10 out of 10. Like, we hit everything that we needed to. We hit the midfield, we hit the offense. Like, we got a whole brand new front three.
What does this mean
Um,
for Sterling? Like Sterling, you guys just spent 60 million pounds on Sterling in the summer. Like who's
Madueke is clearly the backup. Sterling is starting on the right wing.
okay? Yeah, I got that. But like,
So like Sterling still has a role to play.
okay, but
for the
so,
next
so
2 years, but he's on a 6-year contract. I know. I don't.
he's got a part to
Sterling-
play.
I'm not even mad at the Sterling contract. I think Sterling contract will be like I
Sterling
think we will
also-
get the value of Sterling.
Sterling also plays on the left, by the way.
He has the left winger. Like
Right. But
that's
he's been
his.
playing on the right, and he can play on
I
the
didn't-
right.
I
didn't know
understand
if
that.
I didn't know if you meant to, if you missaid that and
No.
didn't mean to.
I said it on the right.
He's been playing on the right for Graham Potter, which is
Yes.
absolute
Okay,
insanity
right.
because he's been winning the Premier League on the left wing, and
Yeah.
comes to Chelsea. Now we're going to play him out of position. But I digress. It's hilarious to me that you said he's got a part to play for 2 years, but he's on a 6-year contract. That's just hilarious to me. Like,
I get that.
You have Lukaku coming back in the summer. Inter don't want him. They've publicly said they don't want him. You've got
That was his
Oh,
that was
we're not talking about Lukaku. We're not talking. No.
we have to. That's the thing. Brad. Like
It doesn't exist. I don't know what you're talking about. Who is this Lukaku?
who is going to take him from you? Like, you're going to have to write off that 60 million pounds that you're going to amortize over the next 5 years or whatever it is, next 3 years on Lukaku, because no one's going to buy him from you. Like, so that's a huge hit. Like
I know. Like, we're still paying for some of the mistakes in the Roman era. Like, did you know Bakayoko is still on the Chelsea roster?
you can't say the Roman era when you're making the same mistakes right now.
It's the same exact business model. Nothing's changed.
So I think the summer window and the winter window are two different things. Clearly they are. I think the summer window, and you guys are looking at me weird
Yeah.
and like freaked out. But look,
I can't wait to hear this explanation.
So let's go to the summer window when Bowley and crew come in. Everybody is
buy.
gone, huh?
And they panic by everything.
I think you're correct. That's what I'm getting to. Like, I think the summer window was kind of like a spaz out. We don't know what we're doing. Help. And Tuchel was like, nah, fam. Like, get me players and I'll coach them. Like, that's what I'm here to do. Right. And we didn't have any structure whatsoever. We didn't have anybody there. So, like, Koulibaly happened. Koulibaly probably should have never happened.
Why? Wait, time out.
I don't like the Koulibaly. What? Like,
this is revisionist history 6 months on. You were so hyped about Koulibaly in the summer. This is insane to me.
But the way that he's been playing, like, I don't like. I think
there's not another club in England where the fans of that club could sign a player for 40 million pounds and then 6 months later be like, it was a mistake, just move on. Like, you guys are so like, and I don't mean this. I don't mean to rag on you specifically, Brad, but Chelsea fans are delusional if this is the belief that this is how football is meant to be, that you can just sign people for 50 million pounds in the summer and then by January I'd be like, oh no, F it, get rid of this guy. Like, it's crazy to me.
so.
And you guys have been like this for 25 years. And
You're not wrong, but I don't know if
I'm gonna explode.
Koulibaly. I don't know if with the team that is now in place that like they have around there that signing occurs.
Sure.
Right?
That's
so I don't know. I think the summer window is its own separate thing, and that it still was part of the plan.
The problem is
I don't know if it's
Bowley
going to be part of the plan going.
Bowley sacked the manager like 6 days after the summer window ended.
I hear you.
If you're gonna sack the manager, do it do it in the summer. If you're not happy with the manager, get rid of him in the summer. Like,
yes.
It's
yes.
Okay.
But I think you also but I also
how
don't
much
know if they knew like everything that was what they had and what they didn't. Like they came into this as Americans who were like, cool, we know how to run a sports team. Let's do that. And
much
now,
how much do
huh?
you think Koulibaly wished he would have picked Tottenham at this point? Because he would have been appreciated at least.
I, I
Would
mean,
he?
he'd be
I
starting.
mean, he'd be starting.
He'd be starting. He
Absolutely.
would be starting.
Yeah. Ben
I don't know if
Davies.
that's saying more about
It's
Chelsea than
Ben.
Tottenham.
It's Ben. Ben's not a center back.
I, 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 uh, I don't know,
Um,
man.
but so like the summer window is different. I think is different than the winter window in that there wasn't a plan.
You spent 80 million
There's
dollars.
not a plan. This one.
You spent 80 million euros on Wesley Fofana in the league. Has this guy
Yeah,
played in 6 months for you? Like, what the hell is
I
wrong with this
know.
club? I can't get them out of here. I need UEFA and FIFA to just 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 nuke this club. It's such an affront to logic and to football and everything. It's just I can't. I just can't. I can't.
Why?
It's not even. It's almost. And Brad, this might be the most offensive thing that I've ever said to you. It's not even as bad. I more appreciate City's spending model than yours.
Ah,
City
Why?
just because City just pay their money and get their players in, and then coach them, and then they just like them.
and they
And
have
then
what?
Right,
And they
right.
but
They've had one person for the past 6, 7 years
and then Chelsea just get their players in, and they're like, no, that's not good. Let's get another one. Lukaku,
because
no, ship 1 year, ship him off, get him out of here. Like
because
it's
the
just
and
brutal.
and
Why would
it's
you ever want to go to Chelsea?
because here's why. A, because we win things is why you want to come there. But B, here this is like the hopefully, right? And I think it is. And I guess we'll find out in 18 months if Potter is still there, right? I hope he is. But I think this is the end of manager after manager after manager after manager after manager after manager. Like what we did the contest, what, like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, when it was, hey, how many Chelsea managers have there been in the past 10 years and can you name them? And it was like 12 managers in the past 10 years, right? That's like crazy to me. And so, of course, that a player is not going to be the same player or same profile. That manager is not looking for that profile anymore. So I think like there were so many different visions of what how football is to be played on our team that like yes, Koulibaly is now out of favor because Koulibaly isn't a profile for Graham Potter, and I think that's okay to say.
yeah, I guess it is. I mean, like obviously, different managers have
So
different preferences, and
so if we are and we bought young, right? Like the average age this year for this window was 20.3. If we add in the summer window, it's still like 22 years old. So we're buying young players that fit the Graham Potter model that are good players and should grow under Potter to be great players, right? Like that's was his track record at Brighton. It's a slow burn, but it's a consistent upward trajectory.
All right, how or James, how big is your washing machine?
it's pretty big.
Really?
It's decent.
Like cubic feet?
Uh,
I would
I got like a
like
6.0.
I think it's like
I
10.
think Bowley got wind of a uh, city block big washing machine that he can figure out how to wash his money. I think he got wind of how to just just clean it off a little bit.
No,
But like, hey,
I
but
think
here's the one thing is
there's a term for that. It's eluding me, but that's
yeah,
what it feels. That's what it
look,
feels and smells
look,
like.
but remember at the beginning of this when everybody was like, well, will Chelsea spend? These are American owners. American owners don't spend money. American owners are there to take money out of the club.
that's not true.
You
Arsenal
can't
spend money.
Yeah, that's not true. That's true for
say that.
Liverpool. You're listening to TMZ too much. That's true for
Like you
Liverpool.
can't say that. Like you can't say that he's not willing to spend the monies.
Yeah. So
And so like so hopefully we got goals. Right? I think the only
I would hope so. With how
real
much money you've spent, I hope you have some goals.
I think the only real panic
Top
buy.
7. Top 7.
I don't disagree with you this year. I think we get some form of European football.
Conference League, let's go, baby.
It's
Hey, we just want to be the Jose of football clubs. That's cool. That's fine.
Enjoy your trip
Um,
to Tel Aviv and then Moscow in the same week.
um,
Arctic
we address
Circle.
needs. We bought young,
Yeah, obviously all good.
and so I'm excited. I'm happy. Um,
I kind of wonder though. There's a part of me that's a little whisper in the back of my head. If Chelsea finish ninth or eighth or something like that, it's not going to be very long before Chelsea fans are clamoring for, because is Thiago Silva going to re-up? I don't know.
yes, you already
Well,
did.
okay, but like, is that going to stick long term? He might decide. He might decide I want to go back to Brazil or do something. His wife might be
Yeah.
done beefing with Chelsea fans on Twitter, which is what she does.
She's a national treasure.
Sure, but
I love her. Her
she,
tweets are hilarious.
she doesn't shy away from beef, so good for her.
She don't care. Everybody can get these hands.
Like you guys are going to need a center back in the summer. Like our Chelsea fans are gonna expect the best now. I think that you guys Chelsea fans have worries at goalkeeper. You guys look at the goalkeepers and you're like, 2 years ago you were like Mendy's the best goalkeeper in the world, and now you're like, is Mendy even good at all? And Kepa is Kepa. So like.
Kepa.
Like that's the best way to describe him. Like you guys are going to be looking in the summer and be like, well, we need a new goalkeeper. We need the best in the world. Like it just seems so like I will be interested to see how Chelsea Twitter reacts in 6 months time when you have some shoes to fill, some holes to fill, some things to plug, and what how Chelsea Twitter's going to react. And also I reject implicitly the comparison to Arsenal. Because Arsenal, like if you look at Arsenal's team, at least are a good core of our players over the last 3 years who kept Arsenal semi-relevant, had been at the club for a while, and were academy products. So this is not what Chelsea is doing. You have, other than Mason Mount, who is the academy product in your starting 11?
Reece James.
Okay.
Trevor Chalobah. Like what?
Doesn't play ever.
Reece James. Okay.
Actually has been starting.
Reece James is super injured, so I will agree to that if he's on the pitch for more than like 60% of the season next year. Trevor Chobla is not good enough, and I think you agree with that. And I think that you want him to be good in the same sense that I want Rob Holding to be good. But you're going to want an upgrade over him. He's like a fourth choice center back in my opinion for Chelsea. He is not a first string center back for you guys. He's not a first choice center back.
I'm with you, but you asked me who's getting serious minutes.
Okay, so like last year, the year before, it was Martinelli, Emile Smith-Rowe, Saka, Xhaka, Kieran Tierney. These were the players that were keeping Arsenal relevant. And 3 of those players are academy players. One of them has been with us since 2015. The other has been with us since 2019. So like these are players who've been established for a long time. And so I want to, you said it at the beginning, like we did what Arsenal did in 3 years in 1 year. I just want to push back on that slightly because Arsenal didn't just buy all of our players. We haven't just bought all of our players. So that's the only point I needed to make.
You have some homegrown talent, but most of your expenditures were young players.
Yeah.
That are playing significant roles now, 3-4 years later.
Certainly.
Right now, you bought them 1 or 2 at a time. You didn't buy.
We also didn't spend 120
7 of them in one window.
We didn't spend 120 million on anyone. We didn't spend
on one of them.
70 million on one of them. Like I think our biggest expenditure was like Ben White at 50 million.
Right. So
I don't know. I
I
think
mean,
this
look,
this
Chelsea
is
do it better, do it bigger. It's what it is.
apples to oranges. I
But
wanted to make that comment at the beginning, but I forgot about it until now.
yeah,
I'll give you the
okay,
last word
sure,
because we need to get out of here.
sure. I hear you, but at the same time, like, that's just if we can, and clearly we can because we did. If we can flip the roster, get it younger, and we can do it all in one window, let's do it.
Sure. Okay. All right, that's it. That's all we got. We could have spent more time on other teams. We should have spent more time on other teams. Friends of Aston Villa, I apologize that we didn't talk about Aston Villa. But
Newcastle.
yeah,
Sorry, Joel, we did not talk about Newcastle. If you want to hit us in the comments, we'll read them next week.
yeah. So, what's up, Sean?
We got more podcasts this week.
True, but the Premier League is back, and we got to talk about the FA Cup. We got to figure out if I'm still happy about the cup or not. So you definitely want to check back tomorrow. And then on Friday, we got the Premier League review as Sean Dyche makes his Premier League debut again. He's back, baby. But hit us up on Twitter. Actually, subscribe, sub notification bell. Share this with a friend, but tell them to watch it at 2x speed so they're not here for an hour. This was a little bit long, so we apologize, but there were a lot of things to talk about. But definitely share it with a friend and tell them to watch it at like 2x speed. But then leave us a comment down below with how you feel like your team did. Why you think Brad's an idiot. Why you think Todd Bowley's an idiot. I would love to hear that. I would love to hear Chelsea slander. That's at KS Brad G. Down below, that's at Whiteheart_Sean. I'm at James Tiffany. Collectively, we're at redcard_radio. Check back tomorrow for the FA Cup review and then Friday for the Premier League preview. Thank you so much for listening. We really appreciate it. And we will see you all next time.